The Pit of Jealousy, a story from the village, told by the fire. Come closer, children. Sit quietly. Let me tell you a story that the wind still carries and the earth still remembers. It is a story about two sisters. One had a heart like light. The other had a heart like smoke. A long time ago, in a quiet village with red sand roads and tall trees that whispered secrets, there lived two sisters. The older one was named Ajuma, and the younger was called Awele. They lived with their widowed mother, Nkechi, in a small clay house near the edge of the forest. Ajuma was strong and sharp, but she liked to be praised. She wanted to be the best at everything. She always walked with her chin high and her arms crossed, waiting for people to admire her. Awele was different. She was gentle. Her eyes were soft. She greeted the old people with respect, helped her mother cook, and always smiled when she spoke. When she laughed, the birds seemed to sing with her. People in the village began to notice Awele. The women at the stream called her our sweet daughter. The elders said she had a peaceful spirit. Even the village boys, who once followed Ajuma around, began bringing roasted groundnuts and mangoes to Awele instead. Ajuma saw it. She heard it, and slowly her heart grew dark. She began to feel something heavy inside her chest. It was not sadness. It was jealousy. Every time someone smiled at Awele, Ajuma's teeth clenched. Every time Awele sang and people clapped, Ajuma's face turned stiff. She started speaking less to Awele. Then she stopped helping at home. Then she began whispering to her mother. Why do they all love her so much? Nkechi tried to calm her. My daughter, love is not a pot of soup. Sharing it does not make it smaller. But Ajuma didn't listen. Her heart was already boiling. One dry season morning, Nkechi asked both daughters to fetch water from the spring deep inside the forest. The sun was hot. The dust rose with every step. They carried clay pots on their heads and walked side by side. Awele was singing a quiet song. Ajuma said nothing. They walked past the tall trees, the anthills, and the crooked baobab tree. Then they reached the part of the path where no one ever walked. It was quiet. Even the birds had gone silent. There was a deep, forgotten pit near that path. It had been dug long ago by hunters or wild animals. Grass had grown over it, and no one had spoken of it in years. Awele stopped to adjust the cloth on her head. Ajuma looked around. There was no one in sight. Her heart spoke first. She stepped forward and pushed Awele hard. Awele screamed as she fell into the pit. Her water pot shattered. Her voice echoed into the hole, and then went quiet. Ajuma stood still. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were dry. She looked around again. No one had seen. No one had heard. She wiped her face, tore her wrapper a little, and ran back to the village crying. She told Nkechi. Awele ran into the forest. I don't know why. She's gone, the mother screamed. The villagers came with lanterns and sticks. They searched the forest, calling Awele's name. But they didn't find her. No one looked in the old pit. Ajuma sat quietly. She said nothing more. Days passed. Then weeks. People stopped searching. They began to believe Awele had run away or been taken by spirits. Nkechi cried every night, holding Awele's wrapper in her hands. Ajuma pretended to cry too, but inside she was proud. Now all the attention had returned to her. People looked at her again. Boys came to greet her again. But peace never came. Ajuma began to have strange dreams. Dreams of a voice crying from under the earth. Dreams of footsteps behind her. Dreams of Awele's eyes staring at her. While all this was happening, deep inside the pit, Owl was still alive. She had landed on soft dirt and broken leaves. She was hurt, but not broken. Every day, she called out. Every night, she sang softly to the moon. She survived by drinking rainwater and eating small roots that grew near the wall of the pit. She kept hope alive in her heart. Then one morning, an old hunter named Baba Ojo was walking past the quiet path. He was looking for herbs when he heard a soft voice singing. He stopped. He listened. He followed the sound and found the grass-covered pit. He called out, "Who is there?" A weak voice answered, "It is me, Awele." Baba Ojo shouted and ran to the village. The people followed with ropes. They pulled Awele out and cried tears of joy. She was thin, she was bruised, but she was alive. When Mama Nkechi saw her daughter, she fainted from joy. Then she held Awele and would not let go. The chief called for a gathering. The whole village came. Awele stood up slowly. Her voice trembled, but she told the truth. She told how Ajuma had pushed her into the pit. There was silence. Ajuma stood like a rock, but her lips quivered. Her knees became weak. She could not deny it. The chief looked at her and said, "A sister who pushes her own into the earth is not safe among us." They banished Ajuma from the village. She walked into the forest alone, with only the echo of her guilt to follow her. Awele stayed in the village. She healed. She helped. She forgave. And she taught the children that jealousy is like a pit. You may dig it for someone else, but it may swallow you too. The lesson, love is like the sun. It shines on many without running out. Jealousy is like fire. It burns both the house and the one who lights it. Speak kindly, love freely, and never push your own into the dark. Please subscribe to Inspirations and Motivation Stories for more amazing stories.